We are exactly 1 week away from the release of the Indigo Disk DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And unlike the Teal Mask, this one has some prerequisites that you have to complete before you can even start playing the second DLC. So today, let's talk about everything that you need to do in order to be able to play the DLC, what you need to get accomplished, and some extra tips that are going to help make sure that you are ready to take on the Indigo Disk when it comes out next week. Let's get to it. All right, so the important thing to note here is that in order to play the Indigo Disk, like in order to even get to that part of the game, there are some things that you have to do. This is not like the Teal Mask, where all you had to do was just like start the game, and then you could go to the land of Kitakami. In order to be able to play the Indigo Disk, you actually have to have beaten the entirety of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So you have to have gone through and beaten every gym at all of the gym leaders, completed the Elite Four and become champion. You have to have defeated all of the team star bases as well as all of the Titan Pokemon. And you have to have gone through and completed the entirety of the storyline for Area 0 and watch the credits roll for the game. Once you have done all of that, you can officially start the Indigo Disk. But that's not really enough. From all of the things that we know about the Indigo Disk, from the early gameplay footage and everything that we've seen so far, we know that this is going to be an incredibly tough part of the game. So much so that bringing in just a team of level 100 Pokemon is probably not going to be enough. So with that being said, let's talk about a couple things that can help get you ready for the DLC and make sure that this is going to be as easy as possible. Also, you need to make sure that you finish the entirety of the storyline for the Teal Mask as well. So you have to make sure that you ventured to the land of Kitakami and completed the entire main storyline involving Ogre Pond and the Loyal 3 before you can ever set foot in the Indigo Disk DLC. So knowing how difficult the Indigo Disk is likely going to be, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have yourself a solid team of Pokemon to go into the DLC with. This means not just bringing a random team of 100 Pokemon that you like, but bringing a team of Pokemon that actually work well together. Since we know that the Indigo Disk is going to focus pretty much solely on double battles, it's very important to have Pokemon that have good synergy with each other. For example, if you were to bring a Pokemon like Ursaluna that knows Earthquake, you definitely would want to make sure that you bring a Pokemon like Dragonite who has the Levitate ability or who is Flying type and would not be hit by that move. Okay? Synergy is super important with your Pokemon. So look through the builds that you have that you've used for raid battles that we've talked about in the past, and find yourself some Pokemon that you think would work good together. After that, you need to make sure that they're built out correctly. And in order to make your team as strong as possible, you're probably going to need some Fresh Start Mochi, which means, unfortunately, you're going to need to go to the land of Kitakami, and you're going to need to play Ogre Oustin. Luckily for you guys, though, you don't have to play hard mode Ogre Oustin in order to get Fresh Start Mochi, but I would highly suggest take an hour or two, play Ogre Oustin a few times, and get yourself some not only Fresh Start Mochi, but other Mochi as well. Once you've acquired yourself some Mochi, you're probably going to want to mosey over to Chansey Supply and get yourself some vitamins. This is going to require quite a bit of money, but think about what your Pokemon use. Is your Pokemon a special attacker or a physical attacker? And buy the vitamins appropriately. Basically, you just need to look and see where is my Pokemon lacking at, and then buy the correct vitamins to invest in to make it as strong as possible. Also, while you're here, you may want to pick yourself up a few mints, maybe just 1 or 2 of each, just to make sure that if you need to change natures on the fly, you can. Another helpful tip would be to stop by Delibird Gifts and stock up on some battle items. Things that you may use that would actually be super helpful items for your Pokemon to hold. Just to note that Shell Bell and Metronome are not really super useful outside of raid battles, so I would stay away from these. But take a look at some of the battle items that are in here and see what they do. Safety Goggles is a fantastic item for a Pokemon to hold, as it prevents you from being powdered or spored. Okay, but check it out. Covert Cloak is also really good as well, and stock up on a couple of these that are going to be super useful to make your Pokemon even stronger. You're also probably going to want to visit your local TM machine and stock up on any TMs that you want for your Pokemon. An easy way to do this is to hop into the TM machine, click X for learnable moves, and sort by moves that your Pokemon can learn. A solid move that you're going to want to make sure you know how to use and that most of your Pokemon have is the move Protect. Protect is going to be essential for this one because we know that these trainers actually know what they're doing. They actually use their abilities and their moves correctly and even use Protect during battle. So having Protect on your Pokemon is going to be essential here. So stock up on some TMs, make sure that you have all of the league points and all of the materials that you need to get those, and then teach these to your team that you're taking in with you. And even with your team built out, you're still going to want to make sure that you're ready to go and heal yourself at all times. So I would highly suggest stopping by the Pokemart and picking up some potions, some max potions, full restores, things like that, as well as your heals and revives in order to be able to cure any status conditions, revive your Pokemon, and be able to heal your Pokemon on the fly in case you can't find a healing station in the Indigo Disk nearby. And while you're at it, pop on over to Medali and head into the restaurant where you fought Larry to change the Tera type for any and all Pokemon that you need to. I would highly suggest checking the Tera type for your Pokemon and changing them as needed, as having a different Tera type other than your base typing for your Pokemon could offer huge advantages, especially when in a double battle. Being able to change a weakness into a resistance and so on is honestly going to be super important for the DLC. So I would highly suggest going in, using any Tera shards that you have, and changing your Tera type up to something that makes sense. So if you're a fire type, maybe changing to a water Tera type would be a good choice for you. Now that we've covered your team, let's cover some other basics that you need to make sure that you're prepared for the Indigo Disk. Make sure that before the Indigo Disk gets here, before you head to the DLC, head on over to Porto Marinata and pick yourself up some apricorn balls, okay? All of the special balls that you're going to want to need, or you're going to want for all of your special catches during the Indigo Disk. Make sure you try and find those lucky beast balls, though, and get as many as you can. I know I'll be hunting for one so that way I can catch my Metagross, or my Beldum, and might have my Metagross in a beast ball. Next up, take some time. Go out and shiny hunt any Pokemon that you want to have on your team. That way you can roll into the Indigo Disk in style with a team full of shiny Pokemon. Blood Remain's an easy one if you have Scarlet, because it took us 30 minutes to catch 3 of these. We got all 3 of these on one sandwich. But get yourself some shiny Pokemon if you have time, so you can bring in a stylish yet strong team. While you're at it, make sure that you go and stock up on any Herba Mystica that you are lacking in, so that way you can make sure that you're ready to shiny hunt in the Indigo Disk as soon as you get in there. Obviously, I need to replenish mine because I only have 1 sour and 1 spicy left over. Don't be like me and don't be caught without any Herba Mystica going into the DLC. While you're at it, go pick yourself up some new clothes to roll into the Indigo Disk in style. If you haven't gone and completed the Rebuild the Shrine quest in the Teal Mask in the land of Kitakami, make sure you go do that so you can get this awesome looking holographic Jinbei to be able to wear when you roll into the Indigo Disk. Also, go visit the shops in Mesa Goza, as the teal card will give you access to some new clothes like new hats and new gloves that you can buy for your trip to the Indigo Disk. While you're at it, if you haven't already, make sure that you complete all of the post-game content for Scarlet and Violet's base game, as well as the Teal Mask DLC. This includes things like the Rebuild the Shrine quest and the Ogre Clan quest in the land of Kitakami, as well as completing the Pokedex and getting your Shard Charm from Professor Jacques to increase the amount of Tera Shards that you get for raids. In the base game of Scarlet and Violet, you'll want to make sure that you go through and re-challenge all of the gym leaders again and complete the Academy Ace tournament if you have not already, as well as completing the Pokedex and getting yourself the shiny charm for those boosted shiny odds. And last but not least, you're going to want to make sure that you go through and organize and clean up any of your boxes that you have before the Indigo Disk DLC. This is going to be super important because if you're like me, your boxes are kind of a mess and just have empty slots everywhere. So you want to make sure clean out some boxes for yourself so that way you have room to store all of the Pokemon that you're going to catch during the Indigo Disk and you don't end up running out of space. Do that by either releasing some Pokemon or more than likely transfer them into Pokemon Home. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is everything that you need to know in order to prepare yourself for the Indigo Disk when it releases next week. This one, along with being super fun and having a ton of content from what we've seen so far, also looks like it's going to be genuinely difficult to beat. So make sure that you prepare yourself, make sure that you get everything ready, and most importantly, have fun with this one. I have a feeling this one is going to be a lot longer than the Teal Mask was, and is probably going to have a lot of surprises coming in it, along with some new Pokemon and some returning favorites as well. So let me know down in the comments below if I missed anything, if you guys can think of anything else that should have been included on this list, and what you're most excited for the Indigo Disk. And if you like this, make sure you hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later.